migrants on the steppes between the Upper Adim and Diyala rivers. The Kutu are frequently coupled with the Sutta, perhaps the Shoravez 23. 23 in Assyrian inscriptions, such records showing them as fighting against Assyria. Kohath Kohath, the second named of the three sons of Levi. Ge 46. 11. X6. 16. 1 Ch 6. 1 in father of Amram, Shah, Hebron, and Uzziel. X6. 18. U3. 19. 1 Ch 6. 2 He was the progenitor of the Kohathites, one of the three main divisions of the Levites. U3. 17. 27 He was likely born in the land of Canaan and is listed among the 66 souls who came to Jacob into Egypt. Ge 46. 8, 11, 26. See, however, Benjamin number 1. Kohath's descendants included Moses, Aaron, Miriam x 6. 18, 20. New 26. 58, 59, and rebellious Korah. New 16. 1-3 Kohath lived 133 years. X6. 18. Kohathite Kohath middle dotite of belonging to Kohath. A descendant of the family head Kohath, who was one of the three sons of Levi. Ge 46. 11. New 26. 57 The Kohathites or sons of Kohath were divided into 4 families, these being descendants of the 4 sons of Kohath: the Amramites, the Shaharites, the Hebronites, and the Uzzielites. U3. 19, 27 Their chieftain at the time of Israel's encampment at Mount Sinai 1513 BCE was Elizaphan the son of Uzziel. U3. 30. Moses and Aaron were Kohathites of the Amramite family X6. 18, 20. Rebellious Korah was a Kohathite of the family of the Shaharites. New 16. 1, as was the faithful prophet Samuel. 1 1. 1, 19, 20. 1 Ch 6. 33-38. The census taken in the wilderness of Sinai revealed that there were 8,600 males a month old and upward belonging to the families of the Kohathites. U3. 27, 28 According to some manuscripts of the Greek Septuagint, the figure is 8,300. When the smaller number is added to the 7,500 and the 6,200 of Numbers 3. 22, 34, the sum total is 22,000. The very figure found in Numbers 3. 39. They're males between 30 and 50 years of age who entered into the service group for the service in the tent of meeting number 2,750. New 4. 34-37. During the wilderness trek, the Kohathites were assigned to camp on the east side of the tabernacle. New 3. 29, between it and the encampment of the tribes of Reuben, Simeon, and Gad. New 2. 10, 12, 14 The Kohathites had the privilege and responsibility of transporting the Ark of the Covenant, the table of showbread, the lampstand, the altars, and the utensils of the holy place, as well as the screen of the most holy. New 3. 30, 31, after these items were packed and covered by Aaron and his sons, who were also Kohathites. The Kohathites other than Aaron and his sons were not allowed to see the utensils even for a moment, or to touch the holy place, for doing so would mean death. New 4. 4-15, 20 Though Israel provided the Levites with cattle and wagons for transporting the tabernacle equipment, the Kohathites were not given any. Doubtless because of the sacredness of their burdens, they carried their loads on their shoulder. New 7. 2-9 They were the last of the Levites to pull away from an encampment. New 10. 17-21. After the conquest of Canaan, when the Levites were assigned certain cities, the Kohathites received 23. The sons of Aaron, that is, the Kohathites were assigned 13 cities out of the territories of Judah, Simeon, and Benjamin, and the rest of the Kohathites were assigned 10 other cities from the territories of Ephraim, Dan, and the half-tribe of Manasseh. Jos 21. 1-5, 9-26. 1 Ch 6. 54-61, 66-70. Heman, a Kohathite of the family of Shah, was given a position by David in connection with the singing at Jehovah's sanctuary. 1 ch 6. 31-38 100 and O textoi acute miritra longo, Korah 184 Jerusalem's destruction in 607 BC Ija 29. 21. Ca have no. 2. A Benjamite and apparent ancestor of a certain Salu residing in Jerusalem in Nehemiah's day after the Babylonian exile. Ne 11. 4, 7. Korah possibly, bald. Baldness. 1. One of Esau's 3 sons by his Hivite wife Oholibamah. Born in Canaan prior to Esau's withdrawal to the mountainous region of Seir. GE 36. 2, 5-8, 14. 1 ch 1. 35 Korah was a sheik of the land of Edom. GE 36. 18. A sheikh Korah is listed at Genesis 36. 16 as a son of Eliphaz and grandson of Esau. However, the name does not appear among the descendants of Eliphaz at Genesis 36. 11, 12 or 1 Chronicles 1. 36. The Samaritan Pentateuch omits the name at Genesis 36. 16, and some scholars suggest its appearance in the Masoretic text may be the result of a copyist's error. 2. One of the sons of Hebron of the tribe of Judah. 1 ch 2. 43. 3. A Kohathite Levite of the family of Shah. X 6. 16, 18, 21. 1 ch 6. 1, 2, 22 Amminadab was perhaps an alternative name for Shah. During Israel's wilderness trek Korah rebelled against the authority of Moses and Aaron, doing so in league with the Reubenites Dathan, Abiram, and On, as well as 250 chieftains of the assembly or men of fame. New 16. 1, 2 They contended that the whole assembly are all of them holy and Jehovah is in their midst, asking, why, then, should you lift yourselves up above the congregation of Jehovah? New 16. 3-11 Moses later sent to call Dathan and Abiram, but they refused to be present, thinking Moses had no right to summon them. New 16. 12-15 Korah, his assembly, and high priest Aaron were told to present themselves before Jehovah, all supplied with fire holders and burning incense. New 16. 16, 17. The following day Korah and the 250 men with him, or carrying fire holders with burning incense, stood at the entrance of the tent of meeting with Moses and Aaron. Jehovah's glory appeared to all the assembly, and God spoke to Moses and Aaron, telling them to separate themselves from the midst of the assembly, that I may exterminate them in an instant. However, Moses and Aaron interceded for the people, and God then directed Moses to have the assembly get away from the tabernacles of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram. This was done. New 16. 18-27 Shortly thereafter, the earth proceeded to open its mouth and to swallow up them and their households and all humankind that belonged to Korah and all the goods. They and all that belonged to them went down alive into Sheol, and the earth covered them over. New 16. 28-34. Those who were before the tent of meeting with the incense-filled fire holders did not escape, for a fire came out from Jehovah and proceeded to consume the 250 men offering the incense. New 16. 35 Korah himself was with them at that time, and thus perished in that fire from God. New 26. 10. The fire holders of those who conspired with Korah were made into metal plates with which to overlay the altar. This was done because they presented them before Jehovah, so that they became holy. And they should serve as a sign to the sons of Israel. New 16. 36-40 Despite this powerful evidence of divine judgment, the very next day the whole assembly of Israel murmured against Moses and Aaron, complaining, You men, you have put Jehovah's people to death. This gave rise to indignation on God's part, and despite the pleas of Moses and Aaron, 14,700 died as a result of a scourge from Jehovah, halted only after Aaron made atonement for the people. New 16. 41-50 Thereafter, Aaron's priestly position was confirmed by the budding of his rod. New 17. That the sons of Korah did not follow their father in rebellion seems apparent from the Bible record, for it states, However, the sons of Korah did not die. New 26. 9-11 Korah's descendants later became prominent in Levitical service. Seeker-Write. The writer of the book of Jude linked Cain, Balaam, and Korah textoi acute muritra longo Laban 185 men who joined him at Ziklag. 1 ch 12. 1. 6 The Levitical singer Heman and the prophet Samuel were Korah's 1 ch 6. 33-38, and King David organized members of Heman's family as singers. 1 ch 15. 16, 17. 16. 37, 41, 42. 25. 1, 4-6 Korahs were among the gatekeepers for the house of Jehovah 1 ch 26. 1-9, 19, and in Jehoshaphat the Levites of the sons of the Kohathites and of the sons of the Korahs rose up to praise Jehovah the God of Israel with an extraordinarily loud voice, because of promised deliverance from the combined forces of Moab, Ammon, and Seir. 2 ch 20. 14-19. The superscriptions of Psalms 42, 44-49, 84, 85, 87, and 88 specifically mention the sons of Korah. Though their forefather had been rebellious, Jehovah did not hold the sons of Korah accountable for his error, and because of their faithfulness they were blessed and honored with temple service. Kakari. 1. A Kohathite Levite of the sons of Asaph and a descendant of Korah. X6. 16, 18, 21. 1 ch 9. 19. 26. 1 Shalom, one of the doorkeepers of the tent, is described as the son of Ka the son of Abiasaph the son of Korah, at 1 Chronicles 9. 19. This text does not mention all the generations between Shalom and Abiasaph, but the names given belong in this one genealogy. 1 Chronicles 26. 1 calls the gatekeeper Meshelemiah the son of Ka. 2. A Levite, the son of Imnah and the gatekeeper to the east of the temple in King Hezekiah's day. He was in charge of the voluntary offerings of the true God, to give Jehovah's contribution and the most holy things, and had other men under his control. 2 ch 31. 14-16. Costhorn. A descendant of Judah. Cos became father to Anub and Zobeba and the families of Ahahul the son of Haram. 1 ch 4. 1, 8. Cushai Cushmiddle.ear. Levite of the family of Merari and the father or ancestor of Ethan, one of the group of Levite singers and musicians of David's day. 1 ch 15. 16, 17 Cushai is evidently called Kishi at 1 Chronicles 6. 44. Kyrios. See Lord. Lador Middle.da. A descendant of Judah and the second named of Sheila's 2 sons. He is referred to as the father of Mareshah. 1 ch 4. 21. Laban White. 1. The grandson of Abraham's brother Nahor. He was the son of Bethuel and the brother of Rebekah. Ge 24. 15, 29. 28. 5, and he was the father of Leah and Rachel. Ge 29. 16 Laban resided at the city of Haradon in Padanaram, an area of Mesopotamia. Ge 24. 10. 27. 43. 28. 6. 29. 4, 5. Laban is called the son of Bethuel the Syrian, literally, the Aramean. He is also referred to as Laban the Syrian. Ge 28. 5. 25. 20. 31. 20, 24 This designation is fitting in view of the fact that he was a resident of Padanaram, which means plain flatland of Aram, Syria. Laban was a Semite dwelling in a region occupied by persons speaking Aramaic, a Semitic language. To the vicinity just mentioned, aged Abraham sent his servant to find a wife for Isaac. Ge 24. 1-4, 10 When Laban heard Rebekah's account of her encounter with Abraham's servant and saw the gifts she had been given, he went running to the servant, addressed him as one blessed by Jehovah, and extended hospitality to him. Ge 24. 28-32 Laban subsequently took a leading part in the negotiations concerning the marriage of Rebekah, the approval for the marriage coming from both him and his father, Bethuel. GE 24. 50-61. Years later, to escape Esau's vengeance and to obtain a wife, Jacob traveled to the home of his uncle Laban at Haran. GE 27. 41. 28. 5 By this time Laban had 2 daughters, Leah and Rachel. GE 29. 16, and possibly also sons. GE 31. 1 Laban made an agreement with Jacob that for 7 years of service he would receive Laban's younger daughter Rachel as wife. However, Laban tricked Jacob on his wedding night by substituting the older daughter Leah for Rachel, brushing Jacob's protests aside by appealing to local custom and then offering Rachel Otex to a acute Miritra Longo, Lobadanum 186 and color-patched sheep, the dark brown sheep among the young rams, and any color-patched and speckled she-goats. GE 30. 31-34, but Jacob's later words to Leah and Rachel, and also to Laban. GE 31. 4-9, 41 indicate that during succeeding years Laban frequently altered this original agreement when it turned out that Jacob's flocks were increasing greatly. Laban's attitude toward Jacob was not the same as formerly, and at Jehovah's direction Jacob decided to return to his homeland with his family and flocks. GE 31. 1-5, 13, 17, 18. On the 3rd day after Jacob's secret departure, Laban learned of it and pursued Jacob, catching up with him in the mountainous region of Gilead. However, a warning from God prevented Laban from harming Jacob. GE 31. 19-24 When they met, Laban and Jacob quarreled. Jacob pointed to his 20 years of faithful service and hard work and showed how Laban had dealt with him unfairly, changing his wages 10 times. GE 31. 36-42. Laban was very concerned about retrieving the teraphim, or household idols, which Rachel, unknown to Jacob, had stolen. These he was unable to find, for Rachel kept them concealed. Laban may have become influenced in his religious ideas by the moon-worshipping people among whom he dwelt, and this may be indicated by his use of omens and his possession of teraphim. However, it should be noted that it was likely more than merely religious reasons that made Laban so anxious to locate and retrieve the teraphim. Tablets unearthed at Nuzini Kirkuk, Iraq, reveal that, according to the laws of patriarchal times in that particular area, possession of such household idols by a woman's husband could give him the right to appear in court and claim the estate of his deceased father-in-law. Hence, Laban may have thought that Jacob himself stole the teraphim in order to dispossess Laban's own sons later. This may explain why, on failing to locate the household gods, Laban was anxious to conclude an agreement with Jacob that would ensure that Jacob would not go back with the household gods after Laban's death to deprive his sons of their inheritance. GE 31. 30-35, 41-52. Laban made a covenant of family peace with Jacob, and to memorialize it, a stone pillar and a heap of stones were set up. Using Hebrew, Jacob called the heap Gilead, meaning witness heap. Laban called it Jegasahajutha, using an Aramaic, or Syrian, expression having the same meaning. It was also called the watchtower. GE 31. 43-53 After bidding his grandchildren and daughters farewell, Laban returned home, and the Bible record makes no further mention of him. GE 31. 54, 55. 2. A place mentioned at Deuteronomy 1. 1 in relation to the desert plains in front of Sup. The exact location of Laban is unknown. Labdanum labdamiddle.num. A soft, black or dark brown gum that exudes from the leaves and branches of several varieties of cistus, or acros. The gum has a bitter taste but a fragrant odor. It is used in perfumes and, at one time, was also extensively employed in medicine. With reference to this substance the ancient Greek historian Herodotus 3:112 wrote, "It is gathered from the beards of he-goats, where it is found a sticking like gum, having come from the bushes on which they browse. It is used in many sorts of unguents ointments, and is what the Arabs burn chiefly as incense." Translation by G. Rawlinson. The Hebrew word nekoth designates this item carried by a caravan of Ishmaelites to whom Joseph was sold, and one of the fine products that Jacob told his sons to take as a gift to one who was ruler in Egypt. GE 37. 25. 43. 11 Nekoth has been variously rendered spices kj, garmet, rs, triggerkant da, resin mo, and, as defined by Kuhler and Baumgartner, Lobdanament W. Lexicon in Veteris Testamenti Libros, Leiden, 1958, p. 615. Labor. See forced labor. Hired laborer. Labor pains. The tribulation associated with giving otex to a acute muritra longo. Labor pains 187. It is true that the pain of pregnancy and childbearing may be relieved by medical treatment and may even be prevented to some extent by care and preparatory methods. But, generally, childbirth remains a physically distressing experience. GE 35. 16-20. ISA 26. 17. Symbolic use. Despite labor pains associated with childbearing, there is happiness attendant upon the birth of a child. When Jesus Christ spoke intimately with his apostles on the evening before his death, he used this circumstance as an illustration. He explained to them that he was going to leave them and then went on to say, "Most truly I say to you, you will weep and wail, but the world will rejoice. You will be grieved, but your grief will be turned into joy. A woman, when she is giving birth, has grief, because her hour has arrived. But when she has brought forth the young child, she remembers the tribulation no more because of the joy that the man has been born into the world. You also, therefore, are now, indeed, having grief. But I shall see you again and your hearts will rejoice, and your joy no one will take from you." Job 16. 20-22. This painful time did come upon them for parts of 3 days, when they doubtless wept and afflicted their souls by fasting. U5. 35. Compare PS 35. 13. But early on the morning of the third day, Nisan 16, and for 40 days after that, the resurrected Jesus appeared to certain of the disciples. Imagine their joy. On the day of Pentecost, the 50th day from Jesus' resurrection, God's Holy Spirit was poured out upon them, and they became joyful witnesses of his resurrection, first in Jerusalem and later in distant parts of the earth. Act 1. 3, 8 And no one could take their joy away. Job 16. 22. The psalmist described a gathering of kings as they viewed the splendor and magnificence of God's holy city Zion, with its towers and ramparts of strength. He says, "They themselves saw, and so they were amazed. They got disturbed, they were sent running in panic. Trembling itself took hold of them there, birth pangs like those of a woman giving birth." PS 48. 1-6 The psalm apparently describes an actual occurrence in which enemy kings were panic-stricken in a projected attack on Jerusalem. Jeremiah, in prophesying defeat to come upon mighty Babylon, told of a people from the north, the report about whom would cause the king of Babylon to have severe pains, like a woman giving birth. It was fulfilled when Cyrus came against Babylon, and particularly when the mysterious handwriting appeared on the wall at Babylonian king Belshazzar's feast. This the prophet Daniel interpreted to Belshazzar as portending the immediate fall of Babylon to the Medes and Persians. J 50. 41-43. Da 5. 5, 6, 28. Concerning the coming of Jehovah's day, the Apostle Paul explained that it would be when the cry of peace and security is being proclaimed. Then sudden destruction is to be instantly upon them, just as the pang of distress upon a pregnant woman. And they will by no